Welcome to the Inspired Action Podcast. This is where we have motivational, inspiring conversations and interviews that we hope you'll enjoy listening to.
Join us and other inspired actioneers on this alchemical, transformational journey.
Welcome back to the Inspired Action Podcast. I'm Jay. This is Pod 95, and today this is going to be a hot episode. We're going to be talking about the fire element, and if you're fire, you might want to listen to this one to see what you truly want out of life. And of course, before I go any further, I'm going to welcome my co-host with the most, as always, the hot Lita Herman. I say that because she's fire.
Oh my gosh. All right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Got
a little blush going on there. All right. So I was going to say this is my favorite topic, fire.
Besides sex, which is fire.
Now you're really going to
You are
make
blushing.
me blush.
Virtually blushing,
well,
everyone.
To be fair, all fire people enjoy the topic of sex.
You think so?
I do.
Some are more outwardly comfortable talking about that.
Some are more comfortable and some are more shy, but it doesn't mean they don't want to talk about it.
Well, they're thinking about it.
They're thinking about it, yeah.
I'll
okay.
give you that.
All right, so now you know our secrets, everyone. If you're not fire, your fire people around you are thinking about sex, likely, at some point.
And love.
And love.
And love.
Really, it's about love. But then there's always the sexual component.
Love asterisk.
Love asterisk.
That's a good movie, right? Love asterisk.
Yeah, let's do
Instead
that.
of Love Actually. Love asterisk.
Love
We're all really
asterisk.
thinking about sex. Okay.
So welcome back. We're continuing our elemental series on what does each element truly want, which is the second stage of the first stage of alchemy. So if you haven't listened to Pod 93 yet, we recommend you go back and listen to that episode before you complete listening to today's episode.
So Pod 93, the second step of the first stage. Wait, you lost me there.
Okay, don't worry about
Pod
it.
93, the second step of the first stage of alchemy. Wait, we're confusing. Get a note and a notepad and a pen, and it's easy.
Or don't worry about it and just go with it. Right. How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
So today we're talking about what is going to give a fire person, and I say fire person one or two, right? One or
right,
two
that's
first,
true.
The sense of completion and fulfillment. So Lita, let's go. What are we going to do? Let's talk about it.
Well, maybe before we get into it, let's just give them an update on the podcast.
Let's go. All right. Let's go.
Let's just say that, we're really excited to be nearing our 100th episode.
Oh my.
So we're on
podcast.
95. So we have 5 more. So we're planning to have a lot of stuff coming up. We're really excited about it.
Let's do something fun for 100. I'm going to make a special t-shirt out there. So if anyone wants the 100th episode t-shirt,
yes,
it's going to be super cute.
So
I just decided that.
Yeah, and we've got a new audiobook coming out. So between the two of them, we're going to have some live events for people. So
but if you do want a t-shirt, don't wait too long because I'm not going to order that many.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm only going to order 100. 100 for 100.
100 for 100. We should.
So if you win the first 100, you'll get a t-shirt.
There you go. And email us at jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com or lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com and tell
You'll
us
get 100
what you would like. And also, if you haven't, we would love a review.
Yes, a review. Then you definitely
get a t-shirt because we really want to get those reviews up, everyone. It's really helping. The podcast is just taking off like crazy. We're just getting emails from all over the world. And every time someone's, willing to write a review, that just helps in the algorithms behind Apple Podcasts and stuff like that.
Yeah, it helps people find us. And I just want to say, if you don't want a t-shirt, which I don't know why, we did send someone a really cool water bottle.
Yes.
And we have sent out mugs.
And a hat.
We sent out hats. So we have lots of swag here. I'm a little over the top with swag. It's all I wear. It's my new wardrobe, head to toe. No, anyway, so we got to do a special podcast. 100.
And if you're not on our news, our mailing list, go to inspiredactionpodcast.com, sign up, and then we'll let you know about the live events we're going to be planning in the future.
And the new swag. I have swag on the brain today. I got my swagger on.
And for those of you
you totally missed that.
You got your swagger on.
I got that's it. An easy one, Lita. That's okay. You don't need to laugh at every joke.
Okay.
Somebody might, but not you.
I belatedly laughed. Can you say that?
That was like a fake laugh. I missed another one.
No, that was funny. Okay.
All right, I'll take that one. All right, come on.
We're just rambling
fire.
here.
Okay, so leave a rate and review. I'll speak coherently, please leave a review and rate the podcast on iTunes. It really helps. And I promise to speak properly as best I can. So, all right, that's it. Is that
one
it?
more thing.
Oh,
one
my
more
gosh.
thing. If for those of you who are new to the podcast and if you're interested in Chinese medicine and alchemy in general, we have an apprenticeship program starting this year in September. It's our second group that we're taking through. And we have a new component where there's an all virtual option because we have a lot of people who live on other continents. We can't get together in person. So that's kind of a new thing we're doing. And there's going to be a lot more about that on the alchemylearningcenter.com. There's some stuff there now, and we're rolling that out very soon.
Yes, and I just want to say, if you are new to the podcast or the Learning Center, I apologize for being uber silly today, but the apprenticeship is not really that silly. That's when Lita puts her serious hat on for the Chinese medicine practitioners and other people out there. But we're a little goofy and silly today, but we're excited about fire. Hey, I have fire second, so I'm excited too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back. What's the burning question for today?
What's going to get a fire started?
A match.
There you go. So we want everyone to look deeper into this what do I really want question. And, it's fine if your answer to that is, I want to remodel my kitchen or something, simple like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But we're really going to try to go at a much deeper level. Like, what is the source of all the things you want, even if it's your kitchen? But why?
Yeah.
Why do you want that?
And I just want to say, we asked a lot of people this question to help us out a little bit. And many people said they just wanted more time to answer the question, which is valid.
Yes.
Which is valid because we don't always stop our busy lives. If you're fire or earth or water, all the elements actually, you're going at a faster pace. You're probably taking care of a lot more people than you probably should, whether it's children or spouses or people at work. We're always taking care of other people. So it's to stop, put the brakes on and go, whoa, what do I really want that's not going to be judged or questioned or made to look bad, the shame or the blame or any of that. So it's really, I totally get if you're like, I need more time,
And actually, as we explained in Pod 93, this is a question that we actually recorded a meditation for because it is so hard to ask this question. It's better to do it in a meditation state rather than just generally speaking. So a lot of times we ask people this question off the top of their head and they're going to come up with something like, remodel my kitchen. But really it's if you do it more like a meditation, you're accessing your higher self and then the true answers come.
So don't feel like bad if you're, so it's really hard to ask the question and it's really hard to answer the question.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. So if you're like struggling, there's nothing wrong with you. Remember, no right or wrong, no good or bad.
Yeah.
But it's like, whoa, maybe you need to take a little bit of time and go, who am I? What do I want? What is my heart doing? All that stuff. And that's what this is about.
Yeah. And if you want guidance, we have the guided meditation in the Alchemy Learning Center. So you can go there and check out the first stage of alchemy meditations. There's a series of them, and that'll help you with answering this question.
Yeah, and we made this because we know this is what trips people up. So instead of saying, I'm really struggling with answering this, to like, I just can't do this right now. I don't have time. Or they have all these, we've heard every excuse. And then when they start to dive in a little bit, they're like, whoa, they really get into it.
Yeah,
so
they really do.
That was great.
So, and in general, we're going to talk about the 9 palaces today too, Jay, because as you may know, if you've been with us for a while, every element has, most of them have 2 palaces. Next one, we're going to do Earth. Earth only got 1 palace.
But they got the big one.
They got the big one, so that's why. But fire gets the 2 palaces, relationship and prosperity. So if you don't know about the 9 palaces, don't worry. You can go back to our first season and listen to the early episodes we did where we outline each of the 9 palaces.
And if you're in a super nerdy mood, you can go to the Learning Center and take the classes because we have a Intro to 5 Elements understanding and an Intro to the 9 Palace understanding. So
understanding. It's called Understanding the 9 Palaces of the Heart.
Yes.
So we said in our last podcast that, usually the answer of what do I really want is some version of, if I have this thing, then I would feel happy. So in essence, we're all pursuing happiness in some form or another.
I call it the elemental carrot dangling.
Yes.
They get dangling the carrot. If I got that new car, I'd be happier driving to work. Well, maybe that's true, but maybe not. Or if I got that new shirt, then I would look good and that person would like me. And we could go all the way down the list of all these tiny little material things that we think we've actually been trained by society to think
Right.
that we need or want or must have. Like if I got that new iPhone, I'm
Right.
not dropping a hint. I'm just saying. But it would make me work more or be more productive, or maybe I'd go running more. I could come up with all the ads for Apple that makes me feel like I need
Yeah.
that new phone or computer
Right.
or watch.
Right. So, in the pursuit of happiness for a fire person, what are they looking for? And one of the reasons that we ask this question, some fire people, they think they're already happy, which I'm sure they feel it.
I do think that
that's
fire
true.
can be happy.
But so then they would say, why would I ask this question? I already have what I want. So I'm happy, which is great, which is awesome. Like, hallelujah, wonderful. But even if you feel like you have this general state of happiness, like, I guess the question is, if you died tomorrow, would you die feeling complete and fulfilled? And some fire people would say yes.
I would. I work with a lot of fire people, and I ask that question when I do a long session with them. Are they happy? And they all say yes. And then I said, okay, well, I might have said this before too. Like, okay, we're good. We don't really have to do anything. They're like, wait. What do you mean? So I think we're also programmed, especially a fire person, to say that we're happy and upbeat and happy. But when we start to peel back the layers of the onion, like in Shrek, right?
Yeah.
All the layers, right?
Yes.
We start to see that maybe that's just a facade that we created to be safe.
Yes. Or they may actually have a general sense of happiness, but there's all these things unresolved in life. And so, number one, probably relationship palace.
Almost always
for a fire person. So we can talk about this. So what are they trying to feel in life? Because fire is all about feelings.
Feelings, nothing more than feelings.
Okay, all right.
Well, I could throw in there sexual feelings, but that's a really bad song.
Isn't that sexual healing?
Yeah, there you go, right?
Yeah.
But no.
Little Marvin Gaye there.
That's right. But fire loves the feelings. They love to feel things. Happy.
Yes. So if we can put fire in another category that's not necessarily called a 9 palace category, we would just make up a new palace called the social palace.
Yes, it's like that's where they love to be.
Yeah, they love to seek out the energy that they feel, going to a party or an event where there's lots of people. It's like fuel that stokes the fire. It differs for each type of fire, what kind of group social events they feel safe in. Some want quiet, dinner with a friend. Some want big events with lots of people. It doesn't matter. It's just that they have this social component. And underneath all that sociability and connection with people, what are they really trying to find? What is the real thing they're looking for?
Tell us. We need to know. Tell us.
Well, you would think the answer is love and acceptance, which it is truly, but there's 2 parts to this one. And we put a lot of thought into this. And so we came up with what they really want is to burn brightly in the world. And what that means is they want to open their hearts and give the love inside them to everyone around them. But in order to do that, they need love and acceptance first, because love fuels their fire and acceptance enables them to feel enough safety, emotional safety, to burn brightly. So it's a requirement for them to have love and acceptance in order to show their light in the world. And that's what it feels like when they're unconditionally loved.
Yeah, and I think that could be a challenge.
Yeah.
That could be a real challenge.
Yeah. And they really want to be unconditionally loved by everyone. We were just watching a movie the other night, and one of the characters said it was just freaky. Actually, it was Grace and Frankie, right?
Or Frankie and Grace if you're a fire person.
Frankie and Grace, right.
Put the fire person first.
Frankie and Grace. So Frankie was just dismayed that the someone in her life, just one person, didn't like her.
Yeah.
And it made her
It was a nuclear meltdown.
It was a meltdown beyond belief that one person didn't like her. So one of the things that fire people want is everyone has to love them all the time. And she kept saying, but he forgave me, so why doesn't he love me?
Yeah. So just for the writing of any of the Grace and Frankie fans, Frankie is fire.
Yes.
And so is the actress.
Yes.
Right? And
Lily.
then Lily Tomlin. And then Grace is wood in the show. And Jane Fonda is wood in real
reality.
life. So it's like this perfect casting. And, we think most of the characters are pretty spot on, but we have a couple times said, I don't know if they got that right, but it's been a great show to watch. So from the fire perspective, it really created. So I think they were spot on with that, with the Lily Tomlin and Frankie having a meltdown because one person did not absolutely love them. And that was really the theme of the whole part of the show was her whole, it like completely like think of a submarine and then gets hit by a torpedo and it goes, that's what happens when one person doesn't like them.
Down she went.
Yeah.
So she was so shocked. And that's what happens to fire people when someone doesn't like them because, fires put their hearts on their sleeves and then someone comes along and knocks their ice cream cone on the ground and then they feel judged and rejected.
And if that happens early and repeatedly, it can cause some big traumas. I know we've talked in the past about fire, how you have this theory, Lita, that every fire has been hurt at a young age.
Yeah.
And they start to build these battle scars.
It's just how badly they were hurt because if their fire gets doused by maybe a parent on a regular basis, then the fire, it's almost out. I mean, honestly, if the fire goes out, then that's flatlining and you're dead. So it's, every fire has some fire. It's not like it's all out, but this barely smoldering fire it's really sad to see, but some people have just been so knocked down over. Their ice cream cone has been just knocked repeatedly.
Yeah, I want to do a series on that. When we have some time, I want to do the 5 elements of what happens when each element gets their ice cream cone knocked on the ground.
That's a good one.
Right? Because it's really, if you think about it, life is good, life is great, and then someone comes along, slaps it on the ground.
And what happens?
And how do you react?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. Let's make a note.
Yeah, let's do that. So the more anyone else has to figure out how to restart their own fire. Like, let's say that happens, maybe just once, no big deal. Soon afterwards, you restart the fire again. Maybe it didn't burn out. You don't even need a match to restart it. You just need some more fuel. And it's like if you have a wood stove and you come home and there are fuel coals left and you get all excited because you think, hey, it's not going to take long to get this fire going
easy
again.
To reignite.
Yeah, easy. And then you just put a little more wood and a little more paper and the fire's burning bright again.
So what is the wood and the paper and the fuel for humans that fire?
It's social connection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what if you come home and that stove is stone cold and then you have to, build it back up and then you have to sit down because it's going to take a while.
Is that a metaphor for a really bad relationship?
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, because if fire doesn't have the fire burning, it's not going to have a sexual component in the relationship. Everything's going to fall apart. So you need to start from scratch. You need to build that fire back up. You need a match. You need fuel. It's really a lot. And that's a fire's life. Sometimes people are mean in the world and maybe you manage to keep your coals burning low even though you're hurt. And sometimes, something bigger happens and your fire goes completely out and it takes a lot longer to bring it back up. And that's when fires talk about being depressed. Because even though they're supposedly so happy, they're pretty happy people in general. But if they've had a life circumstance that really put their fire out, or, even worse, like a parent or a spouse or someone who's just constantly,
or a sibling, young, and then definitely for romantic relationships later on. Absolutely. I see this all the time.
And they may even say they're prone to depression, which isn't really their true essence. It's the life circumstances that cause that. So they can't reignite their own fire. And that easily, and that makes it really hard to be in the world when, the world is constantly against them.
Yeah. So if fires are constantly looking for fuel to burn brightly, Lita, let's talk about how the heart plays into that.
The heart, yes. It's like the big furnace inside a fire person. They're looking for passion through these social circumstances, these social connections, and that fuels that furnace.
Wait, before you go on that, would they also be looking for that with their romantic partner?
Yes.
I think that's something.
Definitely.
And if they're not getting it.
Right.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yes.
But then after a while, they just start to get kind of numb to it and they stay in that relationship. And
yes, if they're in a loveless, let's just say, relationship, they're going to be really going out in the world looking for love, basically, through these social connections. Just little hits of, oh, here's a little fuel here. Here's a little.
Yeah, what are the fire starters?
Yeah. Right.
Those little tumbleweeds that you throw in there.
Those little crumpled up pieces of paper, those little sticks that you get outside and like, oh, this will make it burn brighter. And, you know, that's a sad situation because, you know, it's not very fulfilling just to have these little bits of fuel. You want a real relationship that's going to really, you know, help you feel that love and acceptance so that you can burn
how about when it's going well and things are burning brighter?
Right. So when it's going well, when a fire maybe is in a great relationship and just feels very accepted and loved and can just go out in the world with that feeling of, you know, really that burning bright, showing all your love, opening your heart, all these things, that's where this second palace that is associated with fire comes in. And that's called the prosperity palace. And a lot of people don't know what prosperity means. It means basically that you can give this love to everyone. However that quote unquote love comes out, it could be money, you know, prosperity. We can give donations to people. It could be time. It could be things you want to do.
Experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be all kinds of things, but there's something to give away. It's because the fire's burning bright, and now you want to share that love with everyone. You want to share the passion, and you want to excite other people.
Yeah.
So we always say that if you want to start a business, get your fire friends excited about it, because they'll tell each of them will tell 50 people, and before you know it, like it's going to be like fire spreading, right? Fire spreads. So if you light
like wildfire, how's that metaphor? Boy, this is the show of metaphors. Meta-fires.
Yes, there you go. So if you light their fires, you know, then they go and light other people's fires.
And you know the fire people when they're excited about something and they're talking really fast and they're just like trying to draw you in to get you excited as well. Yeah. And it can be fun, or it can be annoying, or it can be, it can be different things for different people.
Yes.
But when you see two fires together and they're excited and they're talking, and it could be about anything.
Yes.
It's very exciting to watch.
Yes. Now, unfortunately, we all know wildfires can be very destructive in reality.
What? Of course they can.
Yeah, but for fire people being bright, they don't want it to be destructive at all. They want to share good things, and they want to have people benefit and be excited about what they're excited about, and they still want it to spread like wildfire, but they don't want to hurt anyone. I just don't want people to think that they're out to do that.
Correct. And it can appear to be self-centered or even narcissistic.
Yes.
And I always say, if you want to get a little glimpse in the pop culture, go watch the movie Beaches.
Yes.
Right? Bette Midler, who is fire in real life.
Right.
She plays that character who is burning bright, that fire. And I'm not going to say anything more. Go watch Beaches. That's your homework.
Yes.
Get a box of tissue. Just in case you still have a heart in there. No, I'm joking. But do get tissues. You're going to cry. So yes, go watch Beaches. But you'll see how that exact thing what Lita just said really can play in the human field, the human range. It's not a mean thing. It can come off as mean. Right. Again, self-centered, narcissistic, mean. But it's really that they're starting to feel safe. Right. And they're starting to come out.
Right. And society doesn't always like it. That's the problem. Sometimes people in society feel threatened or overwhelmed by the enthusiasm that fire brings out in the world. And then they try to contain that fire or isolate it or put it out by starving it from oxygen or fuel. And that's what society sometimes does to fire people. And that's why fire people feel like they've been burned. And then they don't trust people anymore. And then big wah, 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 because then they can't open their hearts again, and it's just really not a great situation.
And I will also say that all the elements can be a little bit mean, but I think from my experience with a lot of people that fire, when they're not in a great place, they can really be the meanest, like kitty claws out. I say like they will
go for the jugular.
They will cut you, yes, with those kitty claws.
And that's because when they've been really burned and their heart is super closed, they don't have that empathy anymore. And then when they lash out, it can be very damaging. Yeah. But it's rare.
It is rare.
I will say it's very rare for most fires. So the other thing that's really interesting that we were talking about, Jay and I, is if they can't receive, the another person's love. Why is that? So a lot of fires, when they're in this situation where they've been burned before, they shut down to the point where even if you offered them love, they might not take it. Now, why would that be? And that's because they feel like your love would have strings attached. Because when they're so needy for love, they have strings attached to everything they do. So they start only giving love to others when they feel like they'll get something back.
Which is a slippery slope.
Yeah, so there's this ulterior motive behind it. And so then they also have difficulty receiving love. And so as you can imagine, that's not a great place to be. That's a place of no trust. And it's a tough one.
And fear.
Yeah.
It's fear. And also, I will say, because we're looking at the good, the bad, the ugly. Although, don't call a fire person ugly or anything about them ugly.
Yeah, right.
They love beauty.
They need
love
to
beauty,
be beautiful.
But they do have this side of passive aggressive. I think they are the queens and the kings of the passive aggressiveness. And I think that's built out of their battle scars.
Yeah, it is.
When we talk about the ghost points and the heart treatments and all those things, you can work on that. But that, I think, is from that. But they are really good at it. They might not even know that they're good at it.
Yeah. It's very complicated when a fire person is feeling this way. They get very jaded and they have this immense hunger for love and they're always trying to get it. So behind that passive aggressiveness is really just this little kid who wants to be loved.
Yeah.
And
totally. And the more passive aggressive, I think when I see them, I'm like, the more they really want to get out there and shine and burn and they haven't been able to. So how do we look at that?
Right.
Or the other thing, Lita, we haven't talked about this, about how fire people can burn themselves out.
Yes. Now that's a whole different story, which is that they want the love so badly that they focus on too much people pleasing and they're just doing everything for everyone else.
So they are liked.
So that they will be liked and loved and accepted. And then they're not doing anything for themselves, which then makes them feel sick. It basically takes their health palace down. And so, they're not really happy or excited, and most importantly, they're not being genuine. And then they can't burn brightly if they're inauthentic or faking it. No fire can. And so they try, but it doesn't work. And then they end up feeling like they never have enough because they want more love, whether that translates into money.
So I don't have it, how can I give it?
Yeah.
And I have to say, Lita, by coaching so many clients, I have noticed that prosperity is the hardest for all the elements.
Yes.
Okay? Never having enough is now built into our society.
Yes.
Again, I joked about the new iPhone, the new iWatch. It's everywhere.
Right.
So we always think, so how can we share? So why is it so challenging? Why don't we have enough time, enough energy, enough resources? Why do people have to give things away with strings, and why can't we give them without strings? That is the prosperity.
Yes.
The beginning of unlocking that key.
Or just give because you have the joy of sharing.
Yes.
Which is really the essence of fire and the prosperity palace. But the hardest thing for fires is they may think it's a lack of money that's driving them, that they want more money. But really what they want is more love.
So it's the whole chicken and the egg.
Yeah, so they can give more love. Yeah.
It's the heart and the fire, which came first, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so that's just another whole thing. We could talk about that for a long, long time. So
but
we're just trying to show the fairness of all the elements.
Yeah. So let's go back to just what they're really going for. And we on the surface, we would say love and acceptance is the main thing. But beneath that is this desire
to burn brightly.
Which really means give love to the world, give love to everyone.
How about giving and receiving love unconditionally?
Yes.
And not just from your dog.
Yes.
But that's a good thing.
But that's a good thing.
Sometimes that's all you can get, and that's a beautiful thing.
So if you're fire or if you think you have fire second or third, think about your relationship palace. How is it going? And, for your homework, just how could you improve that? How could you make it more romantic, more fulfilling, more a sense of love and acceptance? And of course, loving and accepting yourself is actually the key to all of this. Because
yes, that's where you have to go. You have to kind of roll it backwards.
Yeah, because what you really want is to love and accept yourself. Like when you look in the mirror, can you say you're beautiful? That's important for fire.
Can you feel that you're beautiful?
Can you feel it? That means you're loving and accepting yourself.
Without having to get a new shirt or a new haircut,
Right.
or without having to add it to it. Can you really feel the beauty from the inside?
Yes. And you'll know that you're feeling that way when your eyes twinkle. When you see, or when someone else sees that your eyes are twinkling, that means you're feeling that sense of love and acceptance. It means your fire's burning brightly and you're shining it out to people, literally through your eyes.
And I would say the twinkle and the smile.
Yeah.
Those are the two superpowers of fire.
Of fire.
If a fire person's not smiling,
Right.
or laughing or giggling or,
Yeah.
when they're really doing their thing and being themselves, that just comes out naturally.
And then for all of us who are struggling with the prosperity palace, you know what? Today, give someone something. Give someone a cup of coffee. Go to Starbucks and pay it
forward.
Pay it forward. Pay it for the car behind you. Jay just does this all the time because wood does it naturally. But fires need to cultivate this prosperity palace. What could you give today, even if it's a smile to someone who needs it? Give it. Give it freely.
And that's a beautiful thing. And so also the visualization I'd like to leave you with is a lighthouse on the coast of the beautiful coast, shining out
Yes.
the beacon of love and light.
Yes.
So shine brightly, everyone.
Yes. All right.
No matter where your fire is.
Thanks. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Inspired Action Podcast, and you've reached the end. Woohoo! Why not celebrate a little bit and click that subscribe button right there. We love having you with us on this journey, and we want it to continue.
You can also rate and review this podcast. And if you have already, thank you so much. We read all reviews, and your reviews help other people find this podcast as well. You can also be a part of this podcast yourself by submitting a voice recording message and emailing it to us at lita@inspiredactionpodcast.com or jay@inspiredactionpodcast.com.
And if you want, you can join our Facebook group or follow us on Instagram.
Join us next week for another Inspired Action conversation. And thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening, and remember to hug the dog.